Real estate team leaders, this video is for you. Are you running your team or is your team running you? If everything depends on you being in the room, it's time to fix that with a simple but powerful tool. Hi, I'm Jan O'Brien with WBNL Coaching, and today I want to talk about something that can absolutely transform the way your real estate team runs, and that's having a written team operations manual. Now, before you roll your eyes and think, yeah, that sounds a little overwhelming, Jan, hear me out. A team operations manual isn't about creating another binder that's going to sit and collect dust, in some drawer or on some shelf. It's about clarity, having consistent procedures, and building a scalable business that doesn't fall apart when you're not in the room. So here's the deal. Most team leaders are running their business out of their head. They just know what to do, and they're directing traffic. Everyone's looking for you all the time for decisions. They want answers. They want your direction. They want your coaching. That works when you're small, maybe, but as you grow, it can become very chaotic. So an operations manual is going to help you clearly define roles and responsibilities for everyone in your organization. It's going to document all your systems and checklists so things don't fall through the cracks. It's going to create a smoother onboarding experience for new agents and staff, which I think is so important when you're running a team. It could become your training manual when you do hire those new staff members, because it'll outline everything you do to run your team smoothly. And this is huge. It makes your business more valuable. If you ever want to sell, step back, or expand, think of it as the playbook or the blueprint for your team. Without it, you're just reacting. With it, you're running your team like a real business. All right, so let's talk about what goes into the team operations manual. I'm going to break it down into three main sections, starting with number one, team internal operations. The team internal operations is going to include things like your team structure, your org chart, your guiding principles, think of mission, vision, purpose, then roles and responsibilities, really job descriptions for you, your staff, and everybody else on your team, all the real estate agents and for whatever roles they fill for you. It's going to have all your admin and office operations in it, everything from file management to marketing workflows, everything in between. There's a whole laundry list that we have in our outline that you need to really document for how you internally run your team. Agent onboarding and training, what happens from the moment they join your team. Then, of course, you're going to have your processes down for when somebody terminates from your team. Everything needs to be documented so that nothing gets missed. And it's so much easier when you take the time to do this. Next up in number one, internal operations, is going to be transaction coordination and compliance. Step by step, who does what? What is everyone responsible for? Now you're in a team and you're within a brokerage, but you still need to have some sort of transaction coordination and compliance within your team, because ultimately you as a team leader are responsible for what your agents are doing. And last area here, team meetings. How often do you have them? What are the processes that you or your staff need to do to conduct a solid meeting or to put on any events, really? All right, that brings us to the second main area of your ops manual, and that's going to be team SOPs, standard operating procedures. We're going to start out with listing system. Okay, so this is a documentation of everything that you do when you or anyone on your team takes a listing, before, during, and after. This is how you can train your agents on how you want to do everything A to Z when you work with a seller. You need the same thing for your buyers and your sales system for new homes and resales. Before, during, and after. Think every process, every step, from how you handle a lead to how you show homes, to how you want to teach everyone the processes for who writes the contracts, who's handling anything, is there support for a buyer's agent on your team, how they work with that transaction coordinator or anybody that you have that is supporting them. All these things need to be handled for listing and buyer system. Now, when you have it all outlined, it's easy to train everybody. It's also very easy to create a checklist for those two main systems that you have in your day-to-day operations of your team. Next is lead generation and accountability. This is huge. If you're providing leads, if you're teaching your agents how to do leads, you want to have a protocol, an SOP of how leads are handled from the various sources. And if you're advertising from Zillow different platforms, they all have different, things that have to be done, and all that needs to be documented. Okay, so accountability and lead gen and lead follow-up. Next is database management and referral system. What do we do with our sphere of influence? How do we stay in touch with all of our database and past clients and proactively do referrals? So do you provide things for your agents that are going to help them? Are you teaching them how to do that themselves? These are the things that are going to be in your operations manual. Then you've got marketing and brand guidelines, very important. What kind of marketing do you do? What kind of marketing support do you have for your team members? Are you showing them how to do that? Are there brand guidelines not only for your team, but for your company that need to be followed? Again, everything is in writing. And that brings me to the third key area of your operations manual, and that is team support and tools, starting with what tools do you provide your team? Do you have a CRM? Or are there apps? Maybe there's things that your company provides, but what are you providing? What's the value proposition in your team that you're going to get them up to speed with? And so there'll be how to get that all started for them. Are you giving them an agent web page? Do they have a CRM? How do you get that all set up? Then how do you train them on it? All that has to be outlined in your operations manual. And then that brings me to training, probably one of the most areas, training and coaching. What does your program look like? Do you have do you have a training program that you do formally? Is it live? If you need help with the training program, you need to reach out to us, because you can co-brand and use our foundational agent training called Real Estate Sales Builder. We have a certification program that will train you, your coaches, your trainers, your managers, whoever you need, to use our training program as your training program and supplement it with your processes and procedures for your team and your marketplace, your state that you're doing business in. So all your training and coaching needs to be outlined. And then if you're recruiting, if you're consistently trying to recruit people to your team, what is your hiring process, your recruitment process? We did hiring in the first section, that's the internal, but here it's what are you doing to find people, go through the hiring process and interview them and so forth, and select them and bring them on board is where we will go to the internal side. But this is what you're doing externally to recruit people to your team. Now that they're on your team, what are your additional retention and recognition? Retention, that is mostly coaching and that support that you're going to provide as a team leader with your administrative support. But there are other things that you can do for retention and recognition, and those are the things that you need to outline. So basically, what's going in this operations manual? Every repeatable task in your business should have a written process. The way I like to look at it is if it takes more than one step to do it, even if it just requires one step, somebody needs to know what that one step is. So think of your operations manual as the best way to describe it, a perfect operations manual would be, you had me come into your team today and ask me to handle one of the tasks like onboarding an agent or whatever the task is. I could pick up your operations manual, follow the steps, including logins and links and maybe screenshots, even embedding videos. And I could teach myself without you being there how to make that particular task happen. That's the detail we're talking about here. Okay. So it's everything. And when I say it like that, I know it sounds overwhelming, but it's needed and you're going to do it over time. So yes, I know it sounds like a ton of work, and you're right. It can be if you try to do it all at once and you allow it to overwhelm you. But here's the good news. And you don't have to do it by yourself. And you can definitely start small, pick one section, say your agent onboarding process. I'll stick with that. Write down the steps you currently take. And here's the game changer. When I first started working on operations manuals for my companies and teams, we didn't have AI. ChatGPT in particular is what I use, is a complete game changer and can make this process almost effortless, okay? And that is the way to do it. So I'm gonna give you an example. So with tools like ChatGPT, you can say, here's a great prompt, all right? Act as an operations manager for a real estate team. Help me create a step-by-step onboarding checklist for a new real estate team agent. Here are the steps I already do. Now, your AI doesn't know what your processes and procedures are. They don't know what you're all about. You're going to have to work with your AI to train it to understand how you conduct business. But that is not hard to do. That's like training an assistant, except this assistant is infinitely faster and more efficient than any human assistant that you're going to hire. So you'll have already done some work, but now you're going to go in and be able to do this for each of your sections. All you have to do is jot down in bullet point fashion, what is it that you do from step to step, okay? You know what you have to do if you're already doing it. Now you just need to write it down. And if you're not good at this, then maybe you already have an assistant who can watch you do it and document it, all right? Now you go in, put it in your AI, and in seconds, you'll have a polished draft that you can go back and forth with your AI and refine and adapt to your team, okay? And just say, okay, change this, do this. And instead of you staring at a blank page and trying to write it from scratch, all you have to do is sketch it out, collaborate with your AI, and make the final version. You know, just it'll literally, instead of taking hours for one section, you will literally do this in minutes. I know, because I've done it. All right, it's going to make the process faster, more enjoyable, a lot easier, and super easy to customize. Okay, so here's the bottom line: if you're serious about building or growing a team that runs smoothly, efficiently, and profitably, you must have a written operations manual. So with that in mind, you guessed it, we are currently working on a brand new resource for you that's going to help you do exactly that. It's called the Real Estate Team Operations Manual Blueprint. Now, this is going to include a complete written mock team operations manual. I am literally working on this right now because I know what people want. What you would like to have is a written operations manual that covers everything that I just said. Okay, and I'm going to create that with my AI, and then we're going to create step-by-step guidance and prompts that you can use so you can customize it. Because here's the deal: you can't buy a team operations manual off the shelf. You can, but there's a lot of work that has to be done in it because your team is different than my team. Your team may be a completely different model, a rainmaker team where you're still working. Your team may be you're running it more like a brokerage inside of a company, and you're not really actively doing real estate. You're just managing people and maybe teams of teams. There's so many ways that you can structure a team, but there's generally the same things I just covered in every team. It just varies based on, you know, what you're doing, whether you're providing leads and so on. But some of the basic principles of running a team are going to be the same for everyone, no matter what the size of your team or the goals of your team are, okay? So in our resource, you're going to have an operations manual. You're going to have videos and materials and prompts that are going to help you maybe ask you a series of questions, because what I have to help you with is get it out of your head. This is what I do when I work with people one-on-one. We need to get it out of your head, get it into some even bullet point, and then process of how you train, how you terminate somebody from your team, how you do your staying in touch with your past client system. Once that's all out of your head and in a rough draft, now we can work with AI, and I'm building the prompts, and I'm going to do it myself so I can give you a turnkey how to take it and customize it literally, within hours, as opposed maybe days instead of weeks and months. Okay. Depending on how detailed your team is. Okay. So you won't have to start from scratch. That's the bottom line. We're going to give you the tools that you have it. So it's not ready right now, but if that sounds interesting to you, head over to WBNL Coaching, join our wait list. You can just go to the teams area and you can just fill out the form and say, yeah, put me on the wait list for any of your team products, and you'll be the first to know. This is really going to be a game changer for those team leaders who are really ready to stop flying by the seat of their pants, start running your business like a true business, and have fun with it again. All right, so thanks for watching. Make sure you're subscribed if you're not already, and we'll see you in our next video.